Vine was sitting with her friends in the cafeteria. Jenny, guys, it's finally time to tell you all. She stood up on her chair and raised her bottle of water while saying, I finally have a boyfriend. Vine, what? Seriously? No way. Who is that unlucky boy? Everyone laughed and Jenny frowned. She sat in her chair and said, It's Jungkook. One. Jungkook? But he's so handsome. I don't believe you. Jenny slapped Vine on her arm. Jenny, says someone who never even had a boyfriend. Jenny, seriously, Vine, you're the only one left in our group who doesn't have a boyfriend. Vine, I'm not into these kind of things. I'd rather study than waste time on having a boyfriend. Jenny rolled her eyes. You will never know how fun it is. He proposed to me yesterday, and he was everything I had dreamed of. He took me on a date, and he was so. Lisa. There she goes in her fantasies once again. Lisa shook her head. Suddenly, someone shouted from behind, and they all looked there. Jungkook. Everyone, I have a confession to make. Jungkook. Jenny is my girlfriend from now on, so no one can make a move on her anymore. Jenny blushed, and everyone in the cafeteria cheered and whistled. Lisa, that was so romantic, she said while smiling. Then Junghoon looked at Jenny and took out his hand. Jenny went to him and they both kissed. Lisa looked at Vine and said, This is not happening. Their mouths wide open. Vine also had a boyfriend, but he told her not to tell anyone. When she asked him why, he said that he feels shy in front of everyone and will tell everyone when he's ready. Vine agreed. So now she acts like she doesn't have a boyfriend, even in front of her friends. She loves him and respects his decision. But she still sometimes wishes for things like these, like proudly confessing love in front of everyone and kissing each other. She looked down and left the cafeteria. Lisa, where are you going? She didn't follow Vine because she didn't want to miss what was happening in front of her eyes. Vine was going to the washroom, but someone stopped her by blocking her way. Jack. Hey, Vine. Vine. Hello, she said and walked past him. Jack leaned against the wall and held her wrist, pulling her towards himself, making her gasp. Jack. Where are you going? Vine. What are you doing, Jack? Leave me, she said as she tried to get rid of his grip. He tightened his grip and said, As your friend said, it's time for you to have a boyfriend already. Vine's eyes widened. How long have you been following me? Leave me. Jack leaned forward and said, Let me kiss you. Let's be a couple, he said and leaned further to kiss her. But before he could do that, someone punched him in the face, which made him lose Vine from his hand. Jack. Who the hell? He looked there and he found Jungkook holding Vine's hands. Jungkook. She has a boyfriend already, and it's me. Vine immediately hugged Jungkook tightly, which also made Jack sure that Jungkook wasn't lying. Jungkook. I'm sparing you for once. If you ever lay eyes on her again. Jungkook looked at Jack in the eyes, and Jack was terrified already. Jungkook was always the introverted boy in their class, but no one could bully him. He minds his own business unless someone interferes. Then they have to pay a price. Jack walked away, and Jungkook hugged her back. Jungkook, are you okay? He didn't hurt you, right? Wine nodded. Jungkook, you should have told him that you had a boyfriend. He was going to hurt you. Wine, but you said not to tell anyone. Jungkook's heart skipped a beat and he hugged her tightly. Jungkook, that doesn't mean you risk your life, silly. Wine smiled and broke the hug. Fine. Thank you for saving me. But now soon everyone will know about us. Are you okay with that? Jungkook. It's okay. It can't be helped now. Fine nodded. It's time for my class now. Bye. She said and kissed him on the cheek, hoping for him to do the same. But he just smiled and patted her hair. Jungkook. Let's meet after the class. He waved and went away. Wine looked down for a few seconds, but then she smiled. It doesn't matter if he can't show it. Deep down, she knows how much he loves her, and that's enough for her. She smiled and went to her class. As soon as the class was over, Wine went outside, hoping to meet Jungkook in the parking lot, where they always meet, and Jungkook drops her home. But Jenny came to Wine and held her hand. Jenny, Wine, come with me, it's urgent. Wine, what is it? Jenny, just come, she said and dragged Wine from her hand to the garden. Wine, where are you going? Jenny, here, she said as they reached the garden, and Jenny walked away. Wine, wait, where are you going now? She was going to follow Jenny, but Jungkook came to her and turned her towards himself. He didn't even let her see who it was, and he kissed Wine. Her eyes widened as she looked at Jungkook and everyone in the crowd. It was completely full and everyone was looking at them, all silent. Because they didn't expect it, Wine gasped, but he kept kissing her gently. He was going nuts, telling everyone about their relationship. But this was what she ever wanted, right? Suddenly, everyone started cheering for them, and Wine blushed. She closed her eyes and kissed him back. She kept doing it until she was fully satisfied and out of breath. Jungkook bent down on his one knee and took out something from his pocket. He opened the box, revealing a beautiful silver ring, making her eyes widen. Be my girlfriend, Wine, he shouted in front of everyone. Wine's heart raced like a horse. She put her palms on her wide opened mouth, and her hands were a bit shivering. She smiled and put her hand in front of him. He took out the ring and slid it in her finger. Standing up, he hugged her. Tears fell down from her eyes and she hugged him back. Wine, what is it all of a sudden? She whispered, do not let anyone else listen from the crowd. Jungkook, I love you, Wine, he whispered back. They walked away from the crowd. Wine looked behind and her eyes fell on Jenny, who was smirking at her. Wine, so she was a part of the plan. Jungkook scoffed. She made the plan. Wine, what? Jenny walked to them and said, my silly friend, there was no way you could hide from me that you two are dating. Wine's eyes widened. What? You knew about us? Jungkook and Jenny laughed. Jungkook, I had the same reaction. Jungkook, and it was all her plan. She made me practice it a few times. Thank God I didn't mess up. Otherwise, Jenny. Otherwise, I wasn't going to spare you, of course. Jungkook laughed nervously and said, it all turned out well, after all. Just my legs were shaking a bit. Wine and Jenny laughed. Wine. Thank you so much, Jenny. Jenny, you can thank me by treating me tomorrow. Today is yours. Bye, she said and walked away. Jungkook looked at Vine and said, You have some crazy and scary friends. Vine laughed and he held her hand. Jungkook, let's go home. He smiled, looking at her. She was still shocked, but she smiled back and pulled him in a deep kiss with her.